There is a chamber within you that no one has ever entered but you and the infinite. No sound reaches it from the outside world, yet all the sounds of your life are born there. No image is projected onto its walls from the outer scene, yet everything you see, everything you touch, everything you call your reality is quietly assembled in that hidden room. In that silent inner sanctuary, your subconscious mind is at work day and night, shaping your destiny with a precision more exact than any earthly instrument and with a power greater than any storm on earth. As you listen to these words, something in you recognizes this. A part of you has always known that life is more than random events, that your experiences are not a series of accidents, but reflections of something deeper, something patterned, something law-governed within you. You have felt it in moments of strange coincidence, in prayers answered at the very brink of despair, in the quiet knowing that appeared without logic, guiding you away from danger or toward blessing. It is as though another mind has been living beneath your thoughts, silent, invisible, and yet infinitely intelligent. That mind is the subconscious, the great hidden factory of your life. It receives the raw material of your thoughts, your feelings, your imaginings, and it manufactures your experiences with unwavering obedience. It does not argue. It does not debate. It does not question whether you are worthy of what you request. It only takes what you give it in the form of belief and feeling, and returns it to you as conditions, relationships, health, and opportunities. Modern science, with all its microscopes and brain scans, has begun to glimpse what the mystics have always known. Neuroscientists speak of neural pathways, tracks laid down in the brain by repeated thoughts and emotions. They tell us that what you dwell on rewires your nervous system, that every repeated feeling carves a groove in the brain, making it easier to feel again tomorrow what you felt today. This is neuroplasticity, the capacity of your brain to change its structure based on what you think and feel. But long before the word existed, the great teachers of the mind spoke of it as law, as within, so without. The patterns you sustain inside you become the patterns of your life. Your subconscious mind is like a vast power plant connected to the infinite energy of spirit. It is always running, always generating, always sending out signals into what some now call the quantum field, and what the ancients called the invisible realm of spirit. Your thoughts and emotions are not just private whisperings in your head. They are living currents of energy. They form what we now describe as electromagnetic signatures, vibrational broadcasts that interact with the field of life itself. What you steadily impress upon the subconscious is expressed through you as your health, your wealth, your relationships, your circumstances. Belief is the law of your life, not what you say you believe, not what you wish to believe, but what you actually feel to be true in the secret depths of your mind. Consider for a moment how suffering arises. When you fill it with images of peace, statements of truth, and feelings of gratitude, you are opening the gates for divine life to pour into your world. You may notice that as you change within, circumstances change without, but sometimes in surprising ways. People who once resisted you may drift out of your life. New faces appear, aligned with your new vibration. Opportunities arise in unexpected forms. A setback reveals itself as a redirect. Even the challenges that remain feel different, less like punishments and more like invitations to deepen your faith. This is because your inner world has become more ordered. Your subconscious mind, once filled with conflicting instructions, is now receiving a more consistent message. Continue to honor the power of secrecy and silence. When an idea comes to you in prayer, an inspiration, a vision, let it grow in the quiet. You do not need external validation. The infinite within is your assurance. Speak of your inner work only when moved by wisdom, and even then, with discernment. Your subconscious mind is like a deep reservoir. The more you protect it from the pollution of fear-based opinions and casual negativity, the more purely it can reflect the divine pattern. Remember always, the subconscious mind responds to your dominant feeling. It is not moved by momentary flashes of emotion, but by the steady atmosphere you live in internally. If your inner climate is one of chronic worry, even occasional moments of faith will be diluted. But if you begin to shift that climate, degree, by practicing peace, gratitude, and trust, the subconscious will take note. It will begin to assume that peace is your normal state and organize your life accordingly. At night, before sleep, treat those moments as sacred. Let no harsh word be the last one you speak to yourself. If the day has been difficult, you can still choose your final impression. You can say, despite all appearances, God is with me. My subconscious mind is healing and restoring me now. Tomorrow brings new possibilities. You can visualize yourself stepping into a brighter scene, lighter, freer, more aligned, and then you can drift into sleep knowing that the infinite power within is working on your behalf. Over weeks and months, this way of living becomes natural. Scientific prayer no longer feels like a technique. It becomes a way of being. Visualization is no longer an exercise. It becomes the natural use of your imagination. Emotional alchemy becomes instinctive. You sense when an old feeling arises and you gently transmute it with truth. The law of substitution unfolds automatically. Negative thoughts trigger immediate replacements. Secrecy and silence feel like a sanctuary, protecting the sacred work of your mind. You begin to walk through life with a quiet confidence, aware that the true theater of creation is within you. You may still encounter storms. Life does not become a flat landscape without contrast, but you now meet those storms differently. When waves of difficulty arise, you remember that the ocean of your being is deeper than any surface disturbance. You go within. You anchor yourself in the truth. My subconscious mind is united with infinite intelligence. There is always a way. I am guided. You may still feel emotion, but it no longer rules you. You are rooted in a deeper certainty. This is spiritual maturity, not the absence of challenges, but the presence of an unshakable center. You become a channel through which the infinite can work, because your subconscious is no longer cluttered with contradictory commands. You are aligned. Your inner doctor, your inner architect, your inner power plant, all metaphors for the same infinite presence, are free to operate with greater clarity. As this deep alignment continues, something remarkable dawns upon you. You realize that everything you truly desired at the level of form, money, success, relationships, recognition, was ultimately pointing to a deeper desire, the desire to know yourself as an expression of the divine, to feel safe in the universe, to rest in peace, to give and receive love. When you work with your subconscious in harmony with spiritual law, you are not just rearranging the furniture of your life. You are awakening to who you truly are, a center of divine operation, a unique expression of universal intelligence, a conscious co-creator in the great tapestry of existence. This realization brings a profound gentleness. You no longer force manifestations out of fear. You do not use these laws to prove your worth or to impress others. You work with them in love, for the joy of aligning with truth. You understand that your outer successes are natural expressions of your inner state, and that your true treasure is the consciousness you carry. The more you cultivate peace, gratitude, and trust within, the more naturally blessings flow to and through you. And so as we draw this journey to a close, let these truths settle deeply into your subconscious mind. There is within you Yet now an infinite power quietly at work. It has never abandoned you, never judged you, never withdrawn from you. It has simply been responding to the patterns you offered it. From this moment on, you can choose new patterns. You can speak to your subconscious with love and authority. You can impress upon it images of wholeness, abundance, and joy. You can practice the sleeping method, knowing that each night is an opportunity to plant new seeds. You can pray scientifically, affirming that your good is already accomplished in the invisible. You can visualize your desired life as a present reality, feeling the emotion of its fulfillment. You can practice emotional alchemy, transmuting fear into faith. You can use the law of substitution, replacing every unwholesome thought with a constructive truth. You can honor secrecy and silence, guarding your inner work as something sacred. And you can remember always that your subconscious mind is listening, ready to receive your next instruction. You are not at the mercy of fate. You are not a victim of your past. You are a creative center in a universe of law and love. Every thought you choose, every feeling you cultivate, every image you sustain is a brushstroke on the canvas of your destiny. The inner world creates the outer world. As you transform your inner speech, your inner pictures, and your inner atmosphere, life must respond. This is not a hopeful theory. It is a law as real as gravity. Let there be a quiet decision within you now, a decision to treat your mind as holy ground, your subconscious as a sacred instrument, your thoughts as seeds of destiny. You may begin gently with one new statement, one new visualization, one new act of emotional alchemy. That is enough. The infinite does not demand perfection. It responds to direction. As you point your mind toward truth again and again, the momentum of spirit carries you. In the silence of your own heart, you may hear a whisper. All that I am is within you. All that you seek, you already are in essence. Align your thought with this truth, and I will show it to you in form. Trust that whisper. Nurture it. Let it guide your days and your nights. For transformation does not begin in the world. It begins in a single thought, a single decision, a single shift in consciousness. As you choose now to honor the divine power that works through your imagination, your subconscious mind begins at once to reorganize your inner universe. And as within, so without. In time, you will look back on this moment and recognize it not as a mere idea, but as a turning point, a quiet awakening to the magnificent truth that the creative power has always been and will always be within you. A child hears, "You're not enough, money is hard, life is dangerous, love is not safe." These words are spoken by parents, teachers, or even in silence by their anxious faces and tense bodies. The child does not analyze. The child absorbs. The subconscious, open and impressionable, receives these statements as commands. Neural pathways are formed, emotional circuitry laid down. Later, this child grows into an adult who finds money always slipping away, opportunities always just out of reach, relationships always repeating the same painful pattern. They say, "This is just how life is." But life is not that way for everyone. The world has not singled them out. Rather, the subconscious has taken the early seeds and grown them into a garden of experience. Your subconscious is a garden, and your thoughts are the seeds. The soil does not care what seeds you plant. It will grow roses or thorns, wheat or weeds, with the same fidelity. It will nourish every seed with its own life because that is its nature. Likewise, the subconscious does not judge your thoughts as good or bad, worthy or unworthy. It only knows impressions, images, and feelings. It knows the intensity of emotion, the depth of repetition, and the clarity of the picture held before it. What you plant there, through imagination and feeling, it brings forth in its own perfect time. You may have believed that your suffering was a sign that something outside you needed to change first: the economy, your past, your parents, your circumstances. But all external change without inner change is temporary. It is like trying to rearrange the reflection in a mirror while ignoring the face before it. The outer world is your mirror, not your master. It reflects the images impressed upon the subconscious mind. When you deeply grasp this, you are no longer a victim of conditions. You become a conscious gardener of your own inner field. There was once a man who grew up hearing that he was cursed. His family spoke often of bad luck. Businesses failed, illnesses appeared, opportunities vanished. "We are just unlucky," they said. By the time this man reached adulthood, he was carrying within him a powerful mental blueprint. "I am destined to fail." He did not say it every day, but he felt it. That feeling became an electromagnetic thought form, a vibrational signature radiating from him. When he applied for jobs, his shoulders slumped just slightly. He entered conversations with a hidden expectation of rejection. His subconscious mind, seeing this blueprint, arranged his experiences to match it, just as a faithful servant obeys the orders given to it. One day he heard a simple truth: you are not cursed, you are programmed, and what has been programmed can be reprogrammed. At first he resisted. His reason argued, his memories protested, his past seemed to shout out evidence that life was against him. But there was a quiet part of him that responded, like a small light flickering in a dark room. That light said, "What if this is true? What if my outer life is not a sentence but an echo? And what if I can change the source of that echo?" He began experimenting with a new way of speaking to himself. At night before sleep, instead of rehearsing his failures, he gently repeated, "Infinite intelligence is guiding me now. I am favored. Things work out for me. Divine order governs my life." At first, the words felt like lies. Old feelings rose up contradicting them. But he persisted, not with strain, not with desperate effort, but with a kind of relaxed conviction, as though planting new seeds and trusting the soil. Over time, something shifted. His shoulders no longer slumped when he walked into a room. A tiny current of confidence flowed through him. Opportunities that would have passed him by now seemed to notice him. The subconscious, receiving a new pattern, began to express a new life. Your life can change in just this way, not because some external deity suddenly decides to bless you, but because you cooperate with the divine intelligence already within you. Spirit works through law. The law is mental, and the instrument of that law is your subconscious mind. Prayer, at its highest level, is not begging an outside force to intervene. It is scientific mental conditioning. It is the deliberate impressing of a new belief upon the subconscious, accompanied by feeling, spoken from a deep sense of union with the infinite. When you pray in this way, calmly, confidently, with inner conviction, you are issuing a blueprint to the subconscious architect. You are saying, "This is the structure I choose to inhabit. This is the pattern I now accept as true of me." Scientific prayer is not about pleading, but about aligning. It is the art of assuming that the answer has already been given, that the healing is already accomplished, that the door is already open, and then resting in the feeling of that reality until the subconscious takes it up and builds it into form. Every thought you sustain is a command to the subconscious. Every feeling you dwell in is a signal to the infinite. Field around you. The subconscious responds to emotional intensity, not to frantic struggle. You do not move the subconscious by shouting, but by feeling. A quiet, steady conviction is more powerful than 1,000 anxious repetitions. The subconscious is like a sensitive instrument, a highly tuned receiver. It picks up the dominant vibration of your inner state and shapes your experiences accordingly. Modern research in somatic healing has shown that the body stores memories. Muscles tighten, breath shortens, the heart rhythm changes, all in response to old emotional patterns that are still vibrating beneath conscious awareness. These bodily reactions are the echo of the subconscious mind. They are the physical handwriting of old beliefs. Every time you feel fear in your chest or heaviness in your stomach, your subconscious is speaking, reminding you of a script you accepted long ago. The good news is that just as the body has stored these patterns, it can also release them. Emotional alchemy is the art of transforming these stored vibrations, transmuting fear into faith, anxiety into inner peace, resentment into forgiveness. Picture for a moment that your mind is a great mental factory. On one side, thoughts and feelings arrive like raw materials, worries, hopes, memories, images, desires. On the other side, finished products roll out in the form of experiences, a doctor's report, a bank statement, a phone call, a chance meeting. Between these two sides is the subconscious, the invisible assembly line that never stops working. If you continually send in raw materials of fear, anger, and doubt, do not be surprised when the products of your life reflect those emotions. But if you begin supplying the factory with new materials, belief, gratitude, peace, and clear, constructive images, your life must, by law, begin to reflect those qualities. The machinery of the subconscious cannot be altered by intellectual argument alone. It responds to images and feelings, repeated and impressed with calm certainty. There is a simple, profound practice that harnesses one of the most receptive states of your subconscious mind. It is what we may call the sleeping method. Just before you fall asleep, your brain waves naturally slow down. You move from the busy waking state into the doorway of the subconscious. In these moments, your mind is like soft wax, ready to receive an imprint. What you dwell on in these final minutes before sleep sinks deeply into the subconscious and continues to work throughout the night. Most people, unfortunately, use this sacred window to replay the day's worries, to mentally argue with others, or to relive painful scenes. Their last impressions are ones of fear and lack, and the subconscious faithfully works on those blueprints while they sleep. You can choose differently. As you prepare to sleep tonight, you can step into that inner chamber with reverence. You can lie quietly, take a slow breath, and gently fill your mind with images of the life you wish to experience. You can speak to your subconscious as you would to a wise and loving servant. Here is the pattern I give you. I am whole, healthy, and at peace. Divine intelligence regulates every cell of my body. Prosperity flows to me in perfect ways. I am loved, loving, and divinely guided. Feel the truth of these statements as though they are already facts. Let the feeling be soft but real, like the warmth of a gentle light around you. As you drift into sleep, your subconscious receives these impressions and begins quietly arranging your world to match them. In the language of neuroscience, you are using the natural hypnagogic state, the threshold between waking and sleeping, to install new patterns in your neural pathways. In the language of spirit, you are praying scientifically, offering your subconscious a new divine blueprint. Both descriptions point to the same reality. You are the programmer, and your subconscious is the infinitely obedient instrument. Now let us move more deeply into the practice of scientific prayer. Imagine that you are facing a challenge, a health condition, a financial need, a relationship difficulty. The old pattern is to focus on the problem, to speak of it, think of it, analyze it, and worry about it. This only reinforces the neural pathways of fear and lack, telling the subconscious, this is what I believe in. This is my reality. Scientific prayer invites you to do something very different. It asks you to turn away from the appearance, not in denial, but in recognition that the appearance is the past, crystallized. It is the visible residue of old thoughts, not a decree about your future. You quietly affirm a new reality. You say inwardly, there is a solution, and it is already known by the infinite within me. Divine wisdom guides me clearly now. I give thanks that the perfect answer is unfolding in divine order. You do not plead, you state, you do not beg, you affirm. You choose words that imply the answer is already accomplished, and you feel, to the best of your ability, the emotion you would feel if it were so. You might say, I am now at peace. The healing power of God's life flows through me. I am guided, guarded, and prospered in all ways. You repeat these truths gently, perhaps morning and night, until a sense of inner ease arises. That ease is the sign that the subconscious has accepted the blueprint. From that acceptance, outer changes begin to occur, sometimes gradually, sometimes in what appears to be miraculous ways. In this process, imagination is not a childish fantasy. It is the divine instrument of creation. When you visualize, when you form an inner picture of what you desire as already accomplished, you are arranging the mental blueprint from which your subconscious will build. Visualization is not about straining to see vivid images. It is about quietly assuming the feeling that your desire is fulfilled and allowing your mind to represent that fulfillment in whatever way is natural. You might see yourself shaking someone's hand in congratulations, signing a document, walking freely, or laughing with someone you love. These images, accompanied by genuine feeling, become instructions to the subconscious factory. They create new neural pathways, rewire your emotional circuitry, and alter your electromagnetic vibration. There was a woman who had lived many years in a small apartment, believing that she would never own a home. Her parents had always said, people like us don't get ahead. She internalized this as a law. One day she heard the idea that imagination is the blueprint of creation. She began to experiment. Every night before sleep and every morning upon waking, she spent a few minutes seeing and sensing herself living in a bright, peaceful home. She did not worry about how it would happen. She did not calculate mortgage rates or obsess over the odds. She simply accepted the inner reality as a present fact. She would imagine herself turning a key in a front door, feeling the smoothness of the handle, smelling fresh paint, hearing birds outside a window. She felt gratitude as though it was already hers. Months passed. At first nothing seemed to change, but within her belief was being rewritten. The subconscious was receiving a steady stream of new instructions. Her speech began to change. She no longer said, "I'll never have my own place." Instead, she found herself saying, "When I move into my home." She started noticing opportunities she had previously overlooked. A conversation at work led her to a financial advisor who explained possibilities she had never considered. A property appeared in an unexpected neighborhood at a price once unimaginable. Circumstances aligned in a way she could not have predicted with her logical mind. It was as though the invisible had conspired to reorganize itself around her new inner reality. This is not magic. This is law. Your inner state organizes your outer experiences. The subconscious mind communicates with what some call the quantum field through the language of vibration. Your habitual emotions and mental images are like a spiritual signature, a vibratory address. When you change that signature through scientific prayer, visualization, and emotional alchemy, life must respond. Emotional alchemy is central to this transformation. It is not enough to think new thoughts while secretly clinging to old feelings. Thoughts are like the letters of your inner language. Feelings are the electricity that gives them life. When you transmute fear into faith, resentment into forgiveness, shame into acceptance, you change the very frequency of your being. The subconscious, always listening, always receptive, picks up these new vibrations and broadcasts them back to you as opportunities, meetings, inspirations, and what many call synchronicities. Suppose you are plagued by anxiety. Your mind runs on fearful stories. Your body holds tension in the shoulders and chest. The old pattern is to fight the anxiety, to say, "I must not feel this," and to wrestle with it. This struggle often intensifies the feeling. Emotional alchemy offers a gentler path. When fear arises, you acknowledge it as an old program, not as your identity. You might place a hand over your heart, breathe slowly, and say quietly, "This fear is a memory, not a prophecy. I send it love and release it now. The peace of God flows through me." You visualize the fear as a dark cloud dissolving into light. You allow the body to soften as much as it can. In this way, you are sending a new message to the subconscious. Peace is safe. Calm is my new normal. Repeat this often enough, and the emotional circuitry of your brain begins to change. The old pathways of anxiety weaken. The new pathways of peace strengthen. The subconscious accepts peace as the new standard and begins to generate life experiences that reflect it. Another great tool of transformation is the law of substitution. The mind does not hold two opposing thoughts with equal intensity at the same time. When an unwholesome thought arises, a thought of failure, fear, jealousy, or lack, you are not at the mercy of that thought. You can replace it. You can substitute. The moment you catch yourself thinking, "I can't do this," you gently and firmly introduce a new statement. With God, all things are possible. Infinite intelligence works through me now. You may feel resistance at first. The old thought may return again and again, but each time it does, you substitute the new one calmly, persistently. You are teaching the subconscious a new language. Over time, it will adopt the new word as its native tongue. This is not a matter of positive thinking in a shallow sense. It is not pretending that your pain does not exist. It is recognizing that the subconscious is impressionable and that every repeated thought is a seed. You choose, by the law of substitution, to plant seeds of harmony rather than discord. In modern scientific terms, you are interrupting old neural firing patterns and establishing new ones. In spiritual terms, you are turning away from appearances and aligning with truth. There is a power in secrecy and silence that many have overlooked in this age of constant sharing. When you plant a seed in the ground, you do not dig it up every day to see if it is growing. You protect it in the darkness of the soil. You let it remain unseen until it breaks through in its season. In the same way, when you have impressed a desire upon your subconscious, when you have prayed, visualized, and felt the new reality as done, it is often wise to hold it in the sacred privacy of your inner chamber. Speak of it only to those who understand, or not at all. Silence concentrates power. When you share your nascent desires with those who are afraid, skeptical, or cynical, their words may sow doubt into your mind. Doubt is a counter-suggestion, a negative blueprint that interferes with your work. But when you keep your desire hidden in the garden of your own heart, it can grow without disturbance. This is not secrecy born of fear, but of reverence. You are guarding the Holy of Holies within you. You are acknowledging that the real work happens in silence, in the unseen operations of the subconscious mind, where divine intelligence is at play. Your subconscious is always listening. It hears not only the words you speak out loud, but the silent commentary you run in your mind all day long. Every time you say inwardly, "I am so unlucky, I never get a break, I am always tired, people always let me down," you are issuing orders to your mental factory. The subconscious does not understand jokes or sarcasm. It understands feeling and repetition. The more often you declare these statements, the more strongly it believes that this is the pattern you desire. It sets its silent engines in motion to produce more of the same. What if from this day forward you became more careful with the words you speak to yourself? What if you began to treat your inner dialogue as a form of prayer, a constant conditioning of your subconscious? When a harsh self-judgment arises, "I am stupid, I am ugly, I am doomed," you can pause and remember, "The infinite within me would never speak to me this way." You then substitute a new statement. "I am learning, I am growing, I am an expression of divine life." At first, this may feel unfamiliar, even uncomfortable. The old patterns may object, but the subconscious is listening, always listening, and with repetition it will embrace the new identity. You are not merely flesh and bone, you are a conduit of universal intelligence. Your subconscious mind is connected to what many call the superconscious, the realm of infinite wisdom where all solutions already exist. When you quiet your conscious mind through prayer, meditation, or gentle contemplation, you open the channel for this higher intelligence to guide you. Inspiration comes as a sudden idea, a nudge to make a phone call, a sense of peace about a particular direction. These are not random. They are the language of the infinite speaking through your subconscious. Think of your conscious mind as a captain and your subconscious as a powerful engine room. The captain sets the direction. The engine room provides the power. If the captain is confused, fearful, and inconsistent in commands, the engine room will still move, but not in any coherent direction. But when the captain gives clear, firm, and loving orders, the great engines respond with precision, carrying the ship through storms and calm seas alike. Your conscious mind is choosing thoughts and images every moment. Your subconscious is taking those choices as final. Therefore, your most sacred responsibility is to direct your thought life wisely. At times your reason may say, "This cannot be. My problems are too big. My wounds are too deep." But remember, the subconscious is not limited by your past. It is united with infinite power. The same intelligence that heals a cut on your skin, that grows a child in the womb, that turns a seed into a towering tree, lives and moves in your subconscious mind. This inner doctor knows how to repair your body, restore your peace, and reorganize your affairs in ways your conscious mind could never orchestrate. Your task is not to figure out every detail, but to present a clear blueprint and to trust that infinite intelligence knows the how. Now let us turn inward together. Allow yourself, wherever you are, to become just a little more still. Let your shoulders drop, let your jaw soften. Feel the support beneath you. For a few moments you are stepping out of the noise of the outer world and entering the sacred chamber of your own mind. Here no one can disturb you. Here only truth has power. In this inner space you may notice the echoes of old thoughts, worries about the future, regrets about the past. You do not fight them. You acknowledge them as old programs, and you let them drift by like clouds in a vast sky. Beneath these thoughts, there is a deeper stillness. There is a quiet awareness that has been with you in every moment of your life, from childhood to now. That awareness is your true self, the witness behind all experiences. It has never been harmed, never been diminished, never been broken. From this place, softly bring to mind something you desire to experience. It could be healing in your body, harmony in a relationship, abundance in your finances, clarity in your path. Let the desire be simple and sincere. Do not think of it as far away. Think of it as a reality that already exists in the invisible, waiting to be clothed in form. Now gently imagine that it is already accomplished. You do not have to see every detail. Perhaps you simply notice how you would feel. Maybe there is a sense of relief, lightness, gratitude, or joy. Let that feeling arise, even a little. Rest in it. If you wish, see a simple scene that symbolizes this fulfillment. Yourself receiving good news, embracing someone you love, moving freely, laughing, signing a document, standing in a place that represents freedom. Do not strain. Let it be as effortless as a daydream. As you hold this image, speak inwardly from the heart of your being. Subconscious mind, I thank you. Infinite intelligence within me, I thank you. This good is now established in my life by divine law. I accept it. I rejoice in it. I let it be. Feel the words not as a demand, but as a calm recognition of a spiritual fact. Then release it. You do not need to hold the image forever. A few moments of concentrated feeling can do more than hours of anxious repetition. The seed is planted. In the coming hours and days, you may find old doubts rising. When they do, you do not panic. You use the law of substitution. You say, no, I do not accept that. Infinite intelligence is working now, whether I see it or not. You bring back the feeling of the answered prayer, even briefly. You speak words of gratitude as if the good has already appeared. In this way, you keep watering the seed without digging it up. As you practice the sleeping method, scientific prayer, visualization, emotional alchemy, and the law of substitution, something profound begins to happen. You start to experience yourself differently. You no longer see yourself as a helpless victim of circumstances, but as a conscious co-creator with the infinite. Your identity shifts from one of limitation to one of spiritual sovereignty. You realize that stress, lack, and fear were never ultimate realities, but temporary conditions created by misdirected thought and feeling. If they were created, they can be uncreated. If they were programmed, they can be reprogrammed. Neuroscience confirms this. Even long-held patterns in the brain can change. New neural pathways can be established at any age. Emotional circuitry can be rewired. Trauma can be processed and released. Habits can be reshaped. The brain is plastic. The subconscious is responsive. You are not a fixed personality trapped in an unchanging fate. You are an evolving expression of infinite intelligence. The old you, the one who believed in lack, in unworthiness, in permanent limitation, was built on faulty assumptions. That self was constructed out of other people's fears, society's expectations, misunderstandings of spiritual law, and unexamined experiences of pain. It was a mental statue carved long ago, and you have been bowing to it, calling it myself. But now you see that you can carve a new image. You can sculpt a self who is aligned with truth, a self who is loved, guided, provided for, and connected to the infinite. This new identity is not an arrogance. It is an act of humility. You are not claiming personal power separate from God. You are acknowledging that the infinite power of Spirit seeks to express itself through you as harmony, abundance, and joy. Your subconscious mind is the channel through which this power flows.